Panther Nation, Draft Family, Who Dat Nation. Yes, even Who Dat Nation gets a shout out. Listen, today we're going to go over how the Saints can get out of cap hell. Right now, they are $70 million over the cap, and we're going to go in detail of how they can get out of cap hell. Now, last night on our live stream on February 22nd, we discussed in detail how the cap works and some maneuvers and some techniques on how to get out of cap issues and how to delay some cap issues. Now, the Saints they've been great at this, okay? Unfortunately, they've been unable to capitalize and win a Super Bowl. Now, when you go in and you make some change and you take risk by adding voided years to the end of deals and kicking the can down the road, yes, it's great. It's great. It looks great. You're able to get all these players, but at some point you got to pay the piper, and in 2021, that's what's going to happen to the Saints. Now, before we get into this, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit the notification bell, and make sure you're subscribed, okay? Even Saints fans, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Help your boys get to 5,000 subscribers by the draft. We're trying to get there by the draft. I'm pretty sure we're going to get there. The growth has been amazing. So I'm fully confident that we're going to get there. Now, and also make sure you get in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of this video and this content, all right? Now, let's go ahead and jump into this scene right here, because it ain't pretty, okay? Right now, the Saints are $70 million over the cap, right? And we have to discuss what Drew Brees just did, okay? Drew Brees and the Saints have agreed to reduce his base salary that was going to be $25 million in 2021 to a vet minimum, which is essentially $1 million. Okay, it's $1 million. That's the vet minimum for Drew Brees, and that saved them about $24 million in cap space. That's $24 million in cap space that they got back. However, they're likely going to deem that a June 1 release, which allows them to spread out that dead cap hit. The dead cap would have been $22 million if they just took it outright. And so they're not going to do that. They're going to go ahead and they're going to take it a June 1 cut, so that Drew Brees is going to stay on the roster until June 1st. And then in June 1st, they're going to take the June 1 cut, and then they're going to be able to spread that cap hit out. The benefit of doing that also is that they're not going to have to pay his base salary. The only thing they're going to have to pay is that $22 million in dead money, which is going to be spread out over 2021 and 2022. So when we make this cut, this June 1 cut, you'll see this, boom, $11 million. $11 million is what they saved. You see the cap didn't move that much. The cap didn't move that much simply because the cap figure was already $12 million. Okay, so it didn't move much, but what it does is it prevents a situation. If you cut them outright, you're adding to the cap. If you cut them outright, you're going to take that $22 million up front, and that's not what they want to do. They want to then go ahead and make this a June 1 cut, spread that hit out. The downside to that is that they have to pay Drew Brees in 2021 and in 2022 while he's enjoying retirement. That money has already been paid, so they have to account for it. There is no other way around it. You have to eat that money. You have to. There's no other way around it. Okay, so that's benefit number one: cutting Drew Brees or releasing Drew Brees, let him enjoy his retirement, and once he retires, they won't have to pay him that $1 million. So they do save a little bit of money there. All right, so moving on to a bunch of other cuts that they're gonna have to make. They're going to have to make a bunch of cuts. They're going to have to make a bunch of restructures. And we're going to go through this one by one. Pretty easy, okay? So the first thing they should go after, the first cut they should make, additional cut, is Kwon Alexander. Kwon Alexander got traded from the 49ers to the Saints. And he doesn't have anything left on his deal. He's in the last year of his deal. So they can go ahead and cut him outright and save $13 million. Now, he is owed some money due to his injury. He had an ACL injury. They're going to owe him a little bit of money. But for we're not going to get in. That makes it a little complicated. But we're going to go ahead and say it's going to be like $12 million savings instead of 13. But we're not going to. It's confusing, so we're not going to go there. So we're going to go ahead and cut Kwon Alexander. Now we're going to move on to cut Janoris Jenkins. Janoris Jenkins is a cornerback. You cut him, you'll be able to save $7 million in cap space. So now we're down to $50 million in cap that we have to make up. All right. So next we're gonna move on to Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown is another guy. Didn't really play that much this year. You cut him, you save almost $5 million. So really close to $5 million. You go in and now you can take a look at Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is getting old. Wide receivers can be found. I know Emmanuel Sanders is talented, but you've got to make some tough decisions. And we're going to go after Emmanuel Sanders as soon as I can find him. Let's see if we can find him. There we go. Emmanuel Sanders, $4 million. We're gonna go ahead and cut him outright. Now we're gonna go after your punter, Thomas Morstead. I know you guys had to bring in a guy. I mean, you're paying this cat $2 million and you don't even $2.5 million and you don't even punt that often. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that. We can find a punter, or they can find a punter, not we. I'm not a Saints fan. They can find a punter somewhere else. Save that $2.5 million. Now we're gonna go after Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray, running backs are replaceable. You can find another Latavius Murray in the draft, in free agency, undrafted free. You can find him somewhere else. So you're gonna go ahead and cut Latavius Murray, get him out of here. And now, see, we're starting to make some progress here. We're down to $38 million that we have to make up. So the next cut, and probably the last cut I'm gonna make is Patrick Robinson. You can go ahead and cut him and get him out of here. $2.6 million. He's cut. So now, listen, we're sitting at $35 million. We still got a long way to go, but we're gonna go in and we're gonna start to look at some restructures. Now, restructures are tough. This is where you're getting a scenario where starting to kick the can down the road, very similar to what you did with Drew Brees. At some point, it's going to catch up with you, but you have to make these decisions right now. These are tough decisions that you have to make simply because you're in the situation. All right, so here we go. Cameron Jordan, we're going to take a look at him. And ideally, man, I don't want to restructure Cameron Jordan, because if you look at this, he's already 32 years old. He's already 32 in 2021. The more you kick that can down the road, the more Drew Brees scenario you're running into. The more you're going to pay a dude while he's going to be retired. But you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to come in. You have to restructure him. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this $11 million base salary and we're going to turn that into a bonus. So you turn that into a bonus and then you're able to save $10 million in cap space. All right. So let's do this. Let's hit that restructure. And now you're saving $10.5 million, close to $10.5 million, because you have to pay him the vet minimum. That's why it's not the full $11 million, because you have to pay him the vet minimum. So we're just going to hit that restructure button, and his vet minimum is $660,000. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's going to be close enough in that range. So now look what that did. We saved $10 million, and now you're down to $25 million that we need to make up. Okay, so that's restructure number one. The next restructure you want to take a look at is Michael Thomas. Now, I know there's some rumors about trading Michael Thomas, but trading Michael Thomas will do the opposite effect of what we want to do. Let's take a look at the trade. So trading him means if you trade him, that prorated bonus money accelerates. So let's take a look at his contract. You see this prorated bonus money right here? The $2 million, $6 million, $6 million, $6 million, which equals $23 million. That's what you're going to have to eat if you trade Michael Thomas, and we're not going to do that. So let's simulate that, and you trade him, and you do that. Nah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So we're adding to the cap if we do that, and we don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and hit the restructure button, because we need to save money instead of adding to the cap. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit that restructure button. Again, you're going to take this $12 million and you're going to essentially break that up and give him a bonus. It's going to increase his cap hits down the road, but that's okay. You need relief now. So we're going to hit that restructure button. And boom, you drop his cap figure down. And now we saved approximately, about $9 million if we... 9.2 million if we extend, or if we restructure Michael Thomas's contract. All right. So now the next restructure I'm going to take a look at is Andres Pete. Pete is a young guy, and listen, you got to kick that can down the road. You do it now. Offensive linemen can play. They can play into that mid-30s, so you can add a dummy year onto him, and he probably can still get paid again because he'll be 32, 33 by the time you add those years onto his contract. So if you convert this to bonus, this $9 million to bonus, you're gonna save approximately $6.4 million. So let's hit that restructure button. Okay, 6.7 million. Hit the restructure button again. Boom, hit the restructure button, and now we're saving another $6 million, and now we're down to 10. Okay, again, you're kicking the can down the road. The one. I'm not concerned about Michael Thomas. Not concerned about his contract, kicking him down the road because he's an elite wide receiver. You're going to pay him. You're okay with that. The one I'm concerned about kicking down the road the most is Cameron Jordan. You're going to be paying this man while he's, while his level of play is going to go down and he's going to get older, and you're going to end up paying him more money. And that's just not a good situation. That's how you kind of got in this scenario now, but you have to continue to kick that can down the road. All right, I hope that makes sense. Now, what we can't simulate here, is the extension of Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk. We cannot simulate that because it won't let me do it in over the cap. So if you look at Marshawn Lattimore, the only two options they're giving me is trade or cut, and we don't want to do that. What we want to do, because they're on fifth-year options, these two guys are on fifth-year options. They were both drafted in the first round. They both have fifth-year options. All right, so what we want to do here is get him extended. And what that does is, with extending Marshawn Lattimore, you drop that base salary down. You're going to drop his base salary down to $1.2 million. All right, and you're going to save about $9 million in cap space. That pretty much takes the rest of this away. That pretty much drops this down to zero. Okay, again, that's what you want to do. You have to get those guys extended. You have to get them extended. So Marshawn Lattimore is one example. Again, you save $9 million by extending Marshawn Lattimore, or up to $9 million, depending on how you structure his deal. And then you proceed to extend Ryan Ramczyk. You extend Ryan Ramczyk, and you do like a 4-year deal or something with him. You could create about $7 million in cap space. Drop his base salary down to about $1 million or something like that, and then now you have something to work with. You drop his salary down to about $1 million, and now you're good to go. Okay, you're good to go. And now you're at least, you haven't really signed some of the guys that you need to re-sign. I mean, you got a bunch of free agents over here. There's some guys you just won't be able to re-sign, but at least you are back down to a little bit above the cap. Now you're probably going to be anywhere around $4 to $5 million over the cap. Okay, under the cap. You're going to be under the cap, $4 to $5 million. That'll probably give you just enough space, or close to around the space you need to essentially sign a draft class. And what makes this more important now is, moving forward, you have to knock your draft classes out the window. And they've been doing that. Already. You look at their 2017 draft class, that's one of the best draft classes in history, okay? They knocked it out the park with the 2017 draft class. Now, and that's kind of a product of having good draft classes, and now you have to pay them. You have to pay those guys. Now, there's a couple guys you can go out, you can probably cut. I don't know if you want to cut Teron Armstead. Taysom Hill kind of got you guys in a bind. I don't know why this was done. This is gonna be a pretty big hit, considering that you don't even know the guy's gonna be your starting quarterback next year. So similar to what the Panthers did. We're in a similar situation with Teddy Bridgewater. We got a guy that we don't even know is the guy, and we're gonna end up paying him, I don't know what, 10, 20, or 20 million or something like that next year is his cap hit. Y'all are in a similar situation where Taysom Hill is a $16 million cap hit. You could extend him. If you extend him, that gives you some relief. But do you want him around that long? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be the guy. We don't know who the quarterback is going to be for the New Orleans Saints. They got to figure that out. Once they figure that out, I guess they're going to try and get Jameis Winston in another low deal. I wouldn't do that if I'm Jameis. I think Jameis could have a market elsewhere, but the Saints are obviously going to go try and get him at a lower deal. All right, so there's still some other moves you can make to free up some more space. Again, if you end up letting Marshawn Lattimore go to another team or try to trade him, you could probably save some more space. But there's some other ways, some other small ways that you could probably make a little bit more money and free up some more cap space. But those moves that I just made at least gets them back under the cap, okay? That's what gets them there. Again, a lot of moving, a lot of kicking the can down the road, cutting a lot of guys. But that being said, that's how the Saints get from under cap hell. It's not going to be easy. They're going to take some. They're going to have to make some sacrifices in the short term, but they're going to be okay. The Saints are going to be okay. They draft well. As long as they continue to draft well, they'll be fine. If they start to miss on some of those draft picks, it's going to hurt them. But they have drafted very well recently, so I think they're going to be fine. So that being said, man, Saints fans, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. I got a lot of draft content that we go through, so you might enjoy some of the draft content that I provide. We have some fantasy content as well. So make sure y'all hit that notification bell, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of this video, all right? That being said, I'm out. Peace.